Welcome to this demonstration of Cohesity's DataProtect VM folder management operations. In this demo, I'm going to highlight one of the new management capabilities that were recently introduced in our latest release. I'll start the demonstration directly from the vSphere web client in order to identify the way in which the virtual infrastructure catalog is currently organized. In typical vSphere fashion, administrators may choose to use the VM folder construct as a way to administer and manage the infrastructure. This is a very common management model that is frequently adopted in the enterprise, and it's actually very effective in larger enterprise environments. So if we take a look at here the organization of the catalog, you'll see that very quickly there's a number of folders, which within those folders are utilized to keep together a certain type of virtual machine per se. Here I'm identifying a Oracle and a SQL type of virtual machine, each one of them in their respective folders. That is the way in which the vSphere infrastructure or the administrator is providing the management. So let me go back into the Cohesity UI and create a protection job. So the importance here is that we'll be able to, from a Cohesity management perspective, adopt the exact management model that is being applied by the vSphere admin in their infrastructure by protecting and providing a right level of protection based on their rights, on their accessibility to protect a specific type of portion of the infrastructure, in this case, these sort of business critical applications. So we're able to obviously create a new protection job. We'll start with providing a potential custom policy if you need to. If not, in this case, I wanted to obviously use one of the ones that are available. I want to reduce the time instead of hourly. I want to take it down to fewer minutes. Let's provide better sense of protection. And here, this is a protection job that is focused specifically on the virtual machine protection aspect. Remember that from a SQL perspective, Cohesity provides the ability to provide application-based protection. So very quickly, I was able to create a policy. You can see it here, called it Business Critical App Policy. Now moving forward to creating the actual job, provide a name, a description, select the view box where the job will be actually sort of the properties and the characteristics in terms of space and efficiency features will be applied. And here we're to the point where we want to select the objects that we want to protect. And one of the new things that you'll see as part of the view here is that we can look at the infrastructure as a whole, but we can also now select the folder hierarchy view. By selecting the folder hierarchy view, the system is able to obviously enumerate not only just the virtual machines, but also the folders that have been created in the vSphere infrastructure. So you can see here, I have the same folder construct that was identified in the vSphere web client with the same number of virtual machines. You can individually select any particular virtual machine that you want to protect, or the point that we're introducing now is that to be more effective and to reduce the risk of misconfiguration, you can select the actual folder as the main construct, that's a parent, and anything underneath it will be protected. But what happens when you continue to add and grow the infrastructure, you will then manually probably have to come back here and add individual VMs to the job. Well, we mitigate that process by allowing you to auto-protect the folder itself. So any virtual machine that gets added to the job for any point on in time in the infrastructure will be automatically added and protected so that you no longer have to sort of go back and change or modify the job, which again eliminates the risk of potentially forgetting to protect one of your particular applications. So very quickly the job runs. You can see the information as the task is being performed here. Very quickly that'll take place. These are not very large virtual machines. This is just an example. And you're able to identify, the number, whether the service levels were approved and completed successfully. And here you can see the number of virtual machines that were protected and backed up. Obviously, I protected both of those, the SQL and Oracle, and you can see there a total of 10 objects. But now I want to sort of demonstrate what happens in the scenario where the number of virtual machines might change, as is something that can happen very frequently in the infrastructure. While the job is successful, you'll see that I protected 10 virtual machines. Let's go back to the vSphere infrastructure. And let's say, for example, that instead of just managing or protecting 5, there are other virtual machines that I will move into those particular containers, those folders, those VM folder containers. In that particular case, you'll see that here I can highlight those virtual machines. I'll move on to the VM folders view, so that can make it a little bit easier to sort of move the virtual machines to the respective folders. Drag and drop the virtual machines as they need to be, and you can see that very quickly they are updated, and you can see the 6th Oracle VM that's been placed in that particular folder. And then I'll do the same again for a SQL VM. Now, by simply doing that, the system and when I mean the system, the Cohesity system, by the time the next backup job runs, they will automatically pick up the contents of that parent folder, which in this particular case is where the actual automatic or automated protection is being applied. So by simply adding a virtual machine to those individual containers, those VM folders, the Cohesity cluster would understand what has happened and is able to pick up the process of that virtual machine. So if we look at the job back in the Cohesity UI, we look at the specific settings. Let's say that I want to potentially edit it, just for the sake of showing you the content of what's already there. So as you go through the wizard, you can see now that very quickly there are 6 virtual machines now, and here I'm highlighting that 6th virtual machine that I just added in the vSphere web client without having to touch anything on the Cohesity side. The same thing happens for both, as you can see here. Now, that basically means that the next time I run this particular job, it will then protect that virtual machine, right? So here you can see the first job that was run. It was 10 objects, 5 and 5 on each folder. Now, the next time this particular job runs, and I will actually come out and perform the backup, run it as a task immediately so that we can see that it automatically protects and it adds those new virtual machines to the protection job. So here I very quickly submit that job. And by simply doing that, the fact that the system is able to detect the changes that happen in vSphere, we are basically automatically protecting those virtual machines as you would expect, as you would want in that particular fashion. Here you can see, obviously, because of the process in which they're being protected, obviously the ones that were protected before get done much quicker, as you know, this is the other two are running a first time full protection job, which is typically within the infrastructure. And basically that's it. Eliminating management and operational risks, making sure that your infrastructure remains protected as it needs to be, without having to perform second day sort of operations based on management infrastructures, and it doesn't get any easier than that. Thank you for watching.